On the day I went to the police station for the 16th time to bail Marcus out, I made sure to bring the divorce papers. Tiffany tearfully explained. Grace, please don't be mad. I was being bullied again at the nightclub, and Marcus only stepped in to teach them a lesson. Marcus looked down at me gently. Grace, let's talk about this at home, okay? No need to cause a scene here. Everyone watched the bitter smile on my face. The legitimate wife. But no one expected me to slap Marcus. Fine. Go and get married. Sign the divorce papers. And stop bothering me. The biting evening wind ruffled my hair. I lowered my head, looking at the evening gown and high heels I had meticulously chosen for today, filled with self-mockery. This wasn't the first time Marcus and I had fought because of Tiffany. I couldn't even count how many times it had happened. Ever since his ex-girlfriend returned to the country, my emotions had been spiraling out of control. Again and again. Even though today was my 26th birthday. My ringing. It was Marcus. Telling me not to be angry. That he knew it was my birthday and had a gift prepared. In the past, I would have been happy for a long time after hearing that. Because that's how conflicts between us always went. He'd give me a gift or show some affection. Sweet talk me a little, and I'd be overjoyed. Forgetting all the previous unpleasantness. And my passion for him would be completely restored. But this time, I looked at the text messages. Seeing Marcus apologize for the 16th time because of Tiffany, my heart suddenly felt a sense of release. Devoid of anger. No longer feeling wronged or sad. Instead, it was like a spoiler. A revelation of a mystery I had already solved. See? I knew exactly what he would say next. Every apology from him was always because of Tiffany. Strangely, after this time, I genuinely wasn't upset anymore. I bought a hot drink and walked home alone. Love or not love. For me, it might just be a matter of an instant. It was already past 5 in the morning when Marcus was bailed out and knocked on the door of my apartment. Outside, he frantically pleaded with me not to get a divorce, even smashing the glass and forcing his way in, bringing with him the distinctive floral perfume that always clung to Tiffany. Grace, I'm sorry. I was truly wrong this time. Please forgive me. His body, reeking of the scent of alcohol, reached out to touch me, even trying to pull me into an embrace. He was completely unaware that the strong perfume scent only made me sick to my stomach. I grabbed his fumbling hands, threatening to call the police station. Feeling my rejection, his attitude instantly turned sour. What's wrong? After years of marriage, are we really going to let this get to us? Grace, don't forget you said you didn't mind me having an ex-girlfriend. Now you're going back on your word. Women are so unpredictable. Seemingly realizing he had gone too far, he softened his tone and said gently, I already apologized for what happened at the police station. Grace, let's not fight anymore, okay? As he spoke, he reached out again to pull at my pajama strap. I said, get out. If you don't leave, I'm calling the police station. This was the small apartment I owned before marriage, and I had no idea how he had found his way here. Marcus was getting angry. I could feel him standing behind me, his face clouded with fury, a look I had seen far too often from him over the past few years. While he was distracted, I found a kitchen knife and disgustedly threatened him to get out. That's when Marcus's phone rang. He froze, glanced at the name displayed on the screen, and immediately, despite trying to desperately persuade me to change my mind, grabbed his phone and left. I could pretty much guess who would make him so attentive in the middle of the night. He went outside to take the call. Faintly, I heard his happy laughter from inside, occasionally whispering sweet words into the phone, just like when we first fell in love. I shed tears, trying my best not to dwell on it anymore. I didn't return to the apartment but moved to a nearby hotel instead. I called my best friend, planning to stay with her for a while. She happily agreed. As for my past with Marcus, I finally understood that we were completely incompatible. I also planned to use these next few days to get someone to move all my belongings from the rental apartment. My friend knew I was suffering from heartbreak. She had always been not interested in marriage, and these days, she had taken time off work specifically to take me to amusement parks for several days. She knew me well. After years of marriage, a part of me subconsciously still couldn't let go. My friend and I tried many things we had never done before: bungee jumping, skiing, skydiving. Only when we were exhausted did we return to her cozy rental apartment, still wishing for more. But to my surprise, as we reached downstairs, we found Marcus quietly waiting for us. He rarely initiated conversation. Grace, you seem to be in good spirits these past few days while I was gone. Yeah, you're busy. And so am I. He tried to force a conversation, but I didn't want to say much. I'm sorry I neglected you on your birthday. He suddenly apologized out of nowhere again. In the past, when he was with Tiffany, I would feel anxious and insecure, but now that I didn't care, he wanted to. It was all rather ridiculous. No need to apologize to me. After all, we're truly not a good fit. We should just part on good terms, I said, brushing him off, wanting to end the conversation, but he was still hesitant. Finally, I gave Marcus a polite nod. He seemed disappointed that I wasn't throwing a fit. Oh, and there's something else I want to tell you. I think this relationship of ours. Before I could finish, Marcus, as if expecting it, spoke first. Grace, I've already compromised. Seeing my expression darken, he lowered his voice. I'm really sorry. It's my fault. Please don't. I unceremoniously shattered his illusion. We're really not a good fit. I hope you'll consider my feelings. My birthday wasn't the first time, but it will be the last. You can also look at all the apologies you sent me on text messages before. There are just too many. Really, so many that. I'm so tired. Marcus was silent for a long time. He couldn't look me in the eye. His voice weak. I'm sorry, Grace. Please don't be angry anymore. I understood. He was still avoiding the truth. He also realized there was a problem between us. But his chosen method was to apologize to me endlessly. It wasn't until the door slammed shut that I remembered I was the one who slammed the door this time. For me, it was a release, an end to a tangled past, an honest confession to my innermost feelings. Since I had already planned to get a divorce, I found a new rental apartment online beforehand, dragging 2 suitcases. I walked to the roadside to catch a taxi. As soon as I got into the taxi, I heard the phone ringing in my pocket. Even if we break up, can't we even be friends? He said with a bitter laugh. I only truly understand now how incompetent I was as a husband. These past 2 years, I habitually neglected you, and didn't take good care of you. No wonder you left me. I was just that terrible. Grace, I'll change. I'll go back to being the Marcus you loved before. And even better, I won't disappoint you again. I sighed. There's no need. We've already broken up. We don't need to see each other anymore. With that, I hung up. I adapted well to my new place. I was busy cleaning my new place, buying furniture and decor, working diligently at my job, and studying for my certification exam in my spare time. Every day, from the moment I opened my eyes, I was busy, until I lay in bed at night, without a moment's rest. But I was enjoying myself immensely. My days were full and happy. I never thought of Marcus again, not even once. I no longer cared about his future relationships or life. I thought that after breaking up, we wouldn't see each other again. That was my intention. After all, the world is so big, and we had begun to go our separate paths. The chances of us meeting again would be almost non-existent, like an obtuse angle. Basically, Marcus and I had no chance of meeting again. However, I was quite surprised to run into Marcus downstairs again. Even more surprising was that he had found my rental apartment. How did you get here? I blurted out. Coming, he said, pointing to the door across from mine. Are you kidding me? I didn't believe him. I'm not kidding, he said, shaking the bag in his hand. I just went to the supermarket to buy some groceries. I'm planning to make hot pot tonight. Want to join? Marcus, are you insane? Why did you move here? I'm not insane. I'm very rational and I know what I'm doing. He even had the nerve to smile. You're an adult. You should have basic judgment. You own a property, yet you're spending extra money to rent an apartment. Do you have too much money to burn? Besides, this place is on completely opposite ends of the city from your workplace. You'll waste so much time commuting. You're almost 30. Why are you still doing such immature behavior? You're past the age of acting on impulse. Marcus just smiled faintly. Grace, I'm happy that you still care about me. I tried to break free and go to a hotel, but Marcus wouldn't let me. He forcibly dragged me, insisting I go to his home. But that home isn't ours anymore. Marcus, what's done is done. Let's get a divorce. Why are you so insistent on divorcing me? He racked his brain, unable to understand why I wouldn't let this point go. In his memory, I always yielded to him, and he thought I couldn't live without him. Our love wasn't easy to come by. We had been together since college. He was the president of the student union back then, excellent in both academics and character, and his handsome looks attracted a large number of admirers. I was the type of girl who preferred to bury myself in books and wasn't good at socializing. So when everyone found out we were together, they all thought I wasn't good enough for him. In fact, Marcus initially thought the same. If I hadn't gone abroad for further studies, perhaps I wouldn't have had a chance. So, Marcus was completely baffled as to why I would suggest divorce. In his eyes, choosing me was an act of charity, and someone who received charity wasn't entitled to make demands. He didn't know what had gone wrong. He even wondered if I had changed my mind. Grace, are you deliberately trying to annoy me because I've been neglecting you lately? I swear, I'll never do that again. I promise. Let's not talk about divorce for now, okay? Marcus tried to cover my mouth with his lips again, but I blocked him with my hand. This time, I had absolutely no interest. The thought of him and Tiffany filled me with an inexplicable disgust. I no longer wanted to go back. That night, Marcus, for the first time ever, cooked several bags of food and brought them to me. I looked at the plate of shrimp and felt utterly disappointed. I was allergic to shrimp, and after all these years, he still didn't know whether dining out or cooking at home. I never ate seafood. I only ate some plain rice. Marcus thought I had no appetite and specifically picked up a shrimp for me. I said indifferently, I'm allergic to shrimp. Marcus's chopsticks hovered in midair, and he awkwardly pulled them back, then apologized to me. I'm sorry, Grace. I actually remembered, but my mind just went blank tonight. It must be because you mentioned divorce that I was so out of sorts. Next time, you can't play such jokes on me. As for his words, I was already indifferent. Soon after, a phone call from Tiffany summoned him away again. Marcus became extremely flustered after receiving the call. What do I do? Tiffany is allergic to cat fur and can't be near small animals. How could she be so careless? No, I have to go to the hospital. I watched him fidget like a cat on a hot tin roof. My heart is still as calm water. I stirred the plain rice in my bowl, trying to fill my stomach, because I knew that if I didn't take care of myself, who else would? Marcus didn't even say goodbye before he took a taxi and left. In his haste, he didn't forget to apologize to me, and I couldn't understand why he was so persistent. Not long after Marcus left, I received a call from my boss, Ethan. Grace, do you have time to accompany me to a bar? I thought for a moment and then agreed. Ethan heard I was nearby and said it was no problem. He would pick me up. Honestly, when I saw Ethan pull up in a sports car, I was a bit overwhelmed. He was still dressed impeccably in a suit, just like at work, and his usually reserved expression held a hint of intoxication. Ethan and I attended the same university, but he was a year below me, making him my junior. However, he was the campus heartthrob, a genuine wealthy and charismatic man, young and rich. When I started my job, I never expected to join his company. Ethan and I usually communicated for work via text messages, rarely meeting in person. This time, he extended a warm invitation, and I also felt like having a drink. But I noticed that ever since he entered the bar, he was alone, downing hard liquor glass after glass as if his life depended on it. No matter how I tried to stop him, he continued to drink silently. You know, love can be quite ridiculous sometimes. Of all the women I've met, you, Senior, are the most reliable one. Ethan's tongue was practically tied in knots, his words barely coherent. Soon, Ethan collapsed. I carried him to the car, then remembered I didn't know his home address. I thought, I can't possibly take him to my own home, can I? So I took him to a hotel. To my surprise, I witnessed Marcus and Tiffany emerge from the room next door at that hotel. Our eyes met, and we were both stunned. What are you doing here? Marcus was furious, completely unaware that I was not the one who needed to explain. I retorted, and what are you doing here? Shouldn't someone allergic to cat fur be at the hospital? Marcus stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. Tiffany glared at me, her eyes filled with malice. I called him over. So what? If you can bring a man to a hotel and fool around, why can't he? I scoffed. Of course he can. After all, I'm divorcing him. Whatever you two want to do, it has nothing to do with me. Marcus's expression turned incredibly complex upon hearing my words. He hesitated, then grabbed my hand tightly. Grace, you can't be so cruel. You promised to love me forever. I pulled away from his filthy hand, my voice cold. Marcus, I caught you red-handed. Are you still going to deny it? Listen to me. It's not what you think. Tiffany and I have a purely platonic relationship. We came to the hotel just to discuss some things. I forcefully pushed open their room door. The floor was a mess. Used condoms and stockings still scattered. Not yet tidied up. Is this what you mean by discussing things? You discuss them right into bed. Marcus was speechless, questioned into silence. Tiffany couldn't stand it. She stepped in front of Marcus, looking at me with cold eyes, sneering. Grace, I heard you're getting a divorce. Just get it over with. Why waste so many words? I remember very clearly that in college, you were just an ordinary student, and how outstanding Marcus used to be. If I hadn't gone abroad back then, would you have been able to take advantage of the situation? You should thank me, otherwise, who would even look at an insignificant person like you? I let out a cold laugh and slapped her across the face. Marcus instantly looked heartbroken. Grace, what's gotten into you again? Tiffany is innocent. How can you hurt an innocent person like this? Go apologize to Tiffany right now. My wrist was gripped, hurting terribly. I looked at this man who once had eyes only for me, and my heart chilled inch by inch. I slapped Marcus across the face. You want me to apologize? I looked at Marcus's stunned face. In your dreams, I saw Marcus looking at me with an incredulous gaze, full of anger. Grace, I'm warning you. Don't regret this. Once, when Marcus and I had the silent treatment, his friends came to mediate, trying to persuade me. Grace, Marcus just pities that poor girl. It's not love at all. Don't overthink it. Our mutual friends all said. It wasn't easy for you two to get where you are. Marcus was still calling your name when he got drunk last time. Marcus said that seeing Tiffany always reminds him of the old you, and he just wants to make up for the difficulties you faced back then. Listening to friends reminisce about our past, I remembered how we started from nothing. I remembered how, as children, we fought with stray dogs for food. I remembered our parents died in an accident during their trip, leaving us orphaned. After older relatives seized all our inheritance, we became homeless, struggling for survival. It was Marcus who held me tightly and told me, Grace, I will definitely give you a home. Back then, home was a distant concept. Among countless lights, none belonged to us. Every brick and tile in the city was astronomically expensive. Yet Marcus made me live in the most luxurious luxury apartment in Riverwood, filling the home with memories belonging only to us. Even in the corners, Marcus, fearing I might bump myself, installed soft safety padding everywhere. Marcus always said, Grace, in my heart, you'll always be a child. I want Grace to be the happiest princess in this world. My little princess. Now, friends told me, which man doesn't fool around? Marcus is already good. He doesn't gamble, doesn't frequent prostitutes, and doesn't keep other women. His whole heart is with you. Grace, stop making a fuss. I understood. This was Marcus's mediator, a step Marcus set for me to yield. If I followed it, we could pretend nothing happened, just like every time we had a fight before, and turn over a new leaf. But suddenly, I just didn't want to. Marcus chose silence, his gaze avoiding mine. I hadn't expected Ethan, who had been drunk in the room, to suddenly appear behind me. He wrapped his arms around my neck, passionately kissed me, and drunkenly pointed at Marcus and Tiffany, asking, Grace, who are they? That single call of Grace left both Marcus and Tiffany stunned, and even I was bewildered. Tiffany glanced at Ethan, immediately captivated by his handsome and aloof demeanor. Setting aside looks, the younger Ethan clearly had the upper hand. He was also tall and wealthy. Marcus was completely overshadowed. You're really this insignificant person's boyfriend? Tiffany asked, incredulous. You're the insignificant person, Ethan shot back, and then continued to answer me with action. His lips landed on mine, soft and sweet. Grace, let's go back into the room and continue. I want something a bit rougher. Ethan pulled my hand, and in the stunned gazes of Tiffany and Marcus, we passionately intertwined our way back into the room. He kissed me wildly, and I awkwardly responded until I heard an angry stomp of feet and the sound of them leaving. Only then did Ethan stop. At that moment, we were incredibly awkward. I helped you. How are you planning to repay me? Ethan looked at me with a half-smile. It was then I realized he had sobered up. I smiled bitterly. I have nothing, and you are the renowned president of the Lee. If you're looking for repayment from me, I doubt there's anything I can do to help you. Afterward, I learned that Ethan had been drowning his sorrows due to heartbreak, and his actions towards me, fueled by alcohol, were meant to stand up for me and annoy Marcus and Tiffany. I was very grateful to him. What I didn't expect was that he kept me overnight, until he drove me back downstairs in the morning. That night, we kept to ourselves, and nothing happened, which also completely changed his perception of me. Grace, why don't you come work as the head of the marketing department at my dad's headquarters? He suddenly asked. Actually, my dad met you once and really liked you. I knew, of course, that there were more opportunities at a large corporation. After some thought, I agreed. As I carried my suitcase downstairs, leaving the rental apartment, I ran into Marcus. Seeing me leave, he desperately tried to stop me. Grace, are you really going through with the divorce? Are you so heartless? Have you forgotten? Our 5 years of marriage wasn't easy. Hearing this, I was furious. Marcus, do you have no shame? When I was pregnant and then miscarried, where were you? You mean you didn't know? Marcus was completely unaware that I knew everything and continued to argue. Grace, I'm sorry. I was wrong back then. That day I drank too much at a business dinner, which caused me not to come home in time to take care of you. I really didn't do it on purpose. I was so angry I laughed. Another apology. I didn't know how many apologies there had been. Yet, I had never seen him try to make amends. I pulled out the pregnancy test report, which I had kept in my bag, and slapped it onto his face. Open your eyes and look closely. What does 12 weeks mean? Marcus, back then, I nearly lost my life for you, but you still haven't changed. Now, I truly don't expect any changes from you anymore. Marcus clutched the pregnancy test report, looking at the results, his face filled with guilt and remorse. I didn't continue listening. Instead, I interrupted him. Marcus, you've seen the divorce papers, haven't you? My tone was cold. So cold he might as well have been a stranger. I've already signed it. You just need to sign too. From now on, whose father, whose husband you choose to be, has nothing to do with me. I'm just notifying you. I hope you don't drag your feet on this divorce. Without waiting for Marcus's reply, I turned to leave, but he grabbed my wrist frantically, twisting it painfully. In a blur, my phone fell out of my pocket, and I instantly saw the text messages Tiffany had sent me. He snatched it, disbelief on his face, and opened it. He saw the latest message. Tiffany told me, I actually knew about your bastard child a long time ago. I deliberately ran into Marcus that day just to cause conflict between you two. See? As long as I show up, Marcus will protect me. He'll blindly side with me. So, what good is it if you were pregnant? Marcus doesn't have you in his heart. His heart was pierced. He looked at each of Tiffany's past provocative messages to me, and the deep affection in his eyes turned into painful despair. Tiffany's sarcasm and cold remarks towards me dated back to when she and Marcus first met. From the day Marcus thought she was innocent, she had used that opportunity to add me on WhatsApp and get my number. Every time we argued about Tiffany, I would say Tiffany wasn't as innocent as he imagined. He always thought I was jealous, and he would only add fuel to the fire. Turns out, I was never stirring up trouble. I was stating facts. Yet he never believed me. The last emotional barrier in his heart completely crumbled. Marcus stiffly turned his head, his mouth only capable of uttering the futile, powerless words. I'm sorry. I wiped away the last tears from my eyes, snatched back my phone, and, hoping to part on good terms, told him, I've reprinted the divorce papers. You sign them, and I'll come pick them up in a couple of days. As I took a step, Marcus desperately held onto my suitcase, tears welling in his eyes, pleading, Are you really going to leave me? I cruelly shook off his hand and entered the elevator. The moment the elevator doors closed, I clearly saw him crying bitterly. However, my heart was dead, unable to stir even a ripple. After joining the headquarters, I moved away from that city, found a rental apartment in a new place, and started a new life, almost completely cutting ties with Marcus. If it weren't for the divorce procedures, I would have even deleted his contact information. During this period, my life was very fulfilling. I was busy with company affairs during the day and studied for my MBA and marketing courses at night, thoroughly enjoying myself. Such a life was something I couldn't even dream of before. I used to rush home immediately after work to buy fresh meat and vegetables before the market closed, then cook for Marcus. After dinner, I still had to wash dishes and mop the floor. By the time I had free time, it was already past 11 p.m. leaving little time for myself. I would immediately transform into a time management master, making sure to utilize every single second. Sometimes, Marcus, busy with work, would often only come home in the middle of the night. I would then have to reheat his dinner or chat with him to help him de-stress from company pressures, which resulted in me having dark circles under my eyes almost every day for those few years when I went to work. Feeling the silence around me, I suddenly realized that this kind of life might be what I truly wanted. I was living for myself, not for others. A few days later, the divorce proceedings went smoothly, although there were some minor hiccups. Tiffany was stirring up trouble on the side, insisting that Marcus force me to leave with nothing. I didn't want to get tangled with them anymore, especially since Marcus denied cheating. Only after I left them the house and car did both of them sign the papers willingly and quickly. Tiffany, to provoke me, deliberately spoke about her future aspirations of starting a family soon with Marcus. I just gave a cold laugh, but I no longer cared. Right there, I wished them to live happily ever after. As soon as I left the courthouse, the first thing I did was delete both their contact details. Out of sight, out of mind. In my mind, Marcus and I were now two parallel lines that would never intersect. He would walk his separate paths, and I would walk mine. After the incident at the hotel, my relationship with Ethan rapidly warmed up, even reaching the point of discussing marriage. My performance didn't disappoint him either. I successfully earned an MBA master's degree from a renowned foreign university and secured a multi-billion-dollar contract abroad. Naturally, I became the head of the marketing department at the group. My father-in-law greatly admired me, even declaring that he would hand over the group to me after he retired. I didn't play coy and expressed my full commitment. Not long after, Ethan and I had our first child. He cherished our child and me like his life, holding us gently, afraid we might fall or melt in his hands. There were no more absurd incidents like those with Marcus. Originally, the name Marcus had been completely erased from my dictionary, but I never imagined we would meet again. At a class reunion, I couldn't refuse my good friend's enthusiastic invitation and drove a luxury car to attend. At the reunion, I saw Marcus. I had assumed he would be living well, still the brightest star in the class, but quite the opposite. He looked haggard, his face ashen, like a balding man over 40. My classmates didn't know we were divorced and teased. "Oh, Grace, what's gotten into you? How could you, the second in command of the group, and the president, torment Marcus so badly? Are you deliberately playing for pity, afraid we'll borrow money?" I smiled and revealed our divorce to everyone, to draw a clear line and avoid misunderstandings. Marcus, hearing my ruthless words, was overcome with shame and left early. I thought the matter was settled until one day, as I was out shopping with my husband, he tugged my hand. "Grace, look. Doesn't that person look familiar?" I looked for a long time but couldn't recognize anyone. "Just a homeless person. What's there to see?" Seeing that I still didn't recognize him, he said a name. "It seems you really have forgotten him. Marcus, have you really forgotten that name?" If he hadn't mentioned it, I truly wouldn't have remembered knowing such a person. As I looked over, Marcus happened to look up. He quickly lowered his head, continued to put an empty water bottle into his large trash bag, and hurried away. Seeing such a heartbreaking scene, I remained stone-hearted, completely unmoved. Everyone's life is their own choice. No one can interfere. As for why he had fallen so low as to pick up trash, I didn't know, and I didn't want to know, until one day, an unexpected visitor arrived at the group. Tiffany ran to my company and blocked my car, her attitude extremely humble. "Ms. Jiang, can we talk outside the car?" My initial intention was to refuse, but seeing her hands clinging desperately to the car hood, I got out and asked the driver to turn off the engine and wait. Tiffany gingerly extended her hand, which I pushed away dismissively. She gave an awkward smile and then sat down on the dirty ground, pouring out her woes to me. At that moment, I almost thought we were best friends who had been close for years. She told me that for all these years, their married life had been a miserable life. They tried starting a business, but not long after opening a new company, they were defrauded of their money. Not only did they lose everything, with their house and car mortgaged, but they also ended up deeply in debt and embroiled in lawsuits. Marcus 3 years in prison. After being released, he couldn't find a job and had no money left for starting a business. Most importantly, after being married to Marcus for so long, they even had a child, and Tiffany regretted choosing the wrong man, which led to a situation where they couldn't even afford to raise their child. I treated her playing for pity act as if I were a mere passerby, listening without much concern. She pleaded with me, saying, Ms. Jiang, for the sake of Marcus's past relationship with you as husband and wife, please help us. We truly understand our mistakes. He's just been released from prison, and he's idle all day. No company dares to hire him. Only your company might be willing to do us a favor. She wept, portraying the loving mother and wife, kneeling before me. If apologies were enough, then who would compensate me for the pain I endured back then? I offered her $1,000, showing my humanitarian spirit. The rest of the journey, they would have to navigate on their own. Not long after, I heard news of his death from Marcus. Marcus owed too many debts, couldn't pay them back, and jumped into the river. A man like him died without even a funeral. Some time later, someone told me that a deranged woman was wandering near the group, constantly mumbling I was wrong and a name. I looked from afar through the car window and let out a long sigh. Why did it have to come to this? Marcus's perspective, I am Marcus, and I loved Grace very much. However, I never expressed my love. I remember the first time I saw her. She was shy and timid, and to get my attention, she did many funny things. I started to get annoyed with her, like all the flies buzzing around me. Later, I realized she was different. After we got married, her whole heart was filled with me. Every day, she cooked and did laundry, creating a cozy home for me. Even if I made the most unreasonable demands, she would do her best to satisfy them. She never uttered a single complaint. I gradually accepted her, from being annoyed by her to getting used to having her by my side, and then to not being able to live without her. This habit made me increasingly reckless and willful. I knew I wasn't a good husband, but whenever I saw her, I couldn't help but unleash all my emotions. She was like a vacuum cleaner, sucking away all my unhappiness. I don't know when I became this monster. Until I lost her, the one who loved me most, and the one I loved most. I tried to win her back, but her heart was already broken beyond repair. I was such an idiot. She left, never to return. The person by my side became Tiffany, but was nothing like Grace, not even a fraction. When was with me, she was unconditionally good to me, but wasn't. All she did was spend money lavishly and constantly demand things from me. I was exhausted. When I wanted to make one last desperate effort, to start a new company from scratch, that's when I faced my ultimate failure. Tiffany believed in stock trading, invested all the company's funds in the stock market, leading to financial collapse and bankruptcy. Only then did I realize she had developed a gambling addiction back when she was overseas. She had continually emptied our savings without my knowledge. I had destroyed myself with my own hands. I even harbored a delusion that I could fix my relationship with Grace, that I could still return to her. But another piece of devastating news crushed me. Tiffany was pregnant. It was a crushing blow, making it even harder for me to move forward, for her and our child. I even took the fall for her gambling fraud crime and served 3 years in prison. Yet, after I was released from prison, she was still constantly dissatisfied with me. She frequently abused and humiliated me, calling me useless and a failure. I secretly went to see Grace one last time. She had found someone she liked. That handsome man was infinitely better than me. Perhaps he was a better husband than I ever was. It was raining heavily that day. I walked onto the riverfront, holding the bottle of liquor in my hand. I felt my life was bleak, and there was no hope left. Perhaps I really shouldn't disturb her anymore. So, let it end this way. The drifting umbrella slowly fell, and the scene on the bridge rapidly receded. I saw people exclaim, gathered at the railing, shouting at me. I closed my eyes, the rain beating down on me, as if washing away my sins. The dark river water swallowed me whole. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section. Here is Roses and Love, sharing stories about marriage and women every day. See you tomorrow.